New York Liberty. In a statement released by the team, it says in part, quote, Sandy finishes her tenure in New York as the winningest coach in franchise history, and she took us to never seen before heights as the first head coach to lead the Liberty to a championship.
And it looked like ESPN just told the shocking truth as to why Sandy Brondello was let go by the New York Liberty. Guys, for this one here.
ESPN just dropped a report that has the WNBA buzzing, and it's all about the New York Liberty. Sandy Brondello, the head coach who finally gave New York its long-awaited championship, is suddenly out of a job. Fans can't believe it. This isn't just another coaching change. It's a move that raises serious questions about how this franchise is being managed. How do you let go of the most successful coach in team history? What could possibly justify it? The answers ESPN uncovered paint a picture that's bigger than just basketball. It's about power, pressure, and a front office that seems more interested in control than stability.
New York Liberty have let go Sandy Brondello. Well, in their terms, they will not renew her contract. In our eyes, they parted ways. She was fired, essentially. But not as bad as being fired, I guess. But that's just how we talk out here. Nonetheless, I'm shocked. She's been a coach there for 4 seasons. You look at the past 3 seasons, she made it to the finals in her 2nd season. She won the finals in her 3rd season, and they lost in round 1 this year. Outside looking in, you look at this franchise and you see that's a successful franchise. New York is a powerhouse in the W right now. So what is the issue? What is the front office looking at? What are the owners?
She was the Phoenix Mercury coach the last time they made the finals. She was the Liberty coach in 2022, where she got into the playoffs in her first year, the finals twice in a row, and then had one really down year this year. And this was a funny thing from this press conference. Let's take a listen.
What would you say to those who question whether Sandy should be here next year to coach you guys again?
What the fuck?
I'm not.
Like, Stewie, you could tell the players are happy with Sandy.
At first, the headline didn't even seem real. Brondello, the coach who turned the Liberty into contenders, being pushed out barely a year after lifting the trophy? Fans thought it had to be clickbait. But ESPN confirmed everything, and the details are jaw-dropping. This wasn't some last-minute decision. It had been brewing for a while. Sources say management had drawn a line in the sand. Championship or bust. Win the whole thing, or pack your bags. And here's the kicker. If she hadn't pulled off last year's title run, they were prepared to cut ties right then and there. So in reality, Brondello wasn't coaching with job security. She was coaching with an axe hanging over her head.
What exactly led to the parting of ways between the Liberty and Sandy Brondello here?
Well, Malika, I know you guys talk about this a lot in the NBA and in other sports, but it was really championship or bust for New York and for Sandy Brondello. And in fact, if they hadn't won the championship last year, we might have been having this conversation a year ago, which is maybe a little startling to fans outside, given how, excuse me for those noises, for how impactful she'd been for that franchise. But that is how bullish this organization is in New York, and how their ownership and management really are looking to just continue upon that success.
What did I just read? Whoa. This is crazy. The WNBA dominoes continue to fall. They continue to fall. The gift that keeps on giving. This is insane news.
Just think about how absurd this is. Brondello rebuilt the Liberty piece by piece, guided them to the best record they've ever had, delivered the first championship in franchise history. And somehow, that wasn't good enough. Instead of celebrating, the organization decided her time was up. It's like being served a perfectly cooked steak and then sending it back because the plate wasn't warm enough. That kind of logic isn't just flawed, it's insulting to the work she put in. And for fans, it's almost impossible to defend. When you look at her results, firing her makes no sense at all.
And so I think for New York moving forward, I would expect them to really, again, be bullish in who they go after. We know that they are a WNBA franchise that invests a lot in a lot of resources, a lot of financial capital into these decisions. So I think It wouldn't be shocking, though, if they decide to go after maybe someone in the NBA, someone that we might be a little bit more of a non-traditional hire. I do think Sandy Brondello has a great shot of getting hired again. We know what she has done in this league. We know that there's openings in Seattle, for example, in addition to
3 days after Noelle Quinn got fired, the WNBA media is already back to race baiting for engagement. But first, let's get to former New York Liberty head coach, 2024 champion of the New York Liberty, Sandy Brondello, out after 4 seasons. The last 3 seasons, Sandy Brondello, 32-8, made the finals, lost to the Las Vegas Aces. 2024, made the finals, beat the New York Liberty. And
ESPN described Liberty ownership as bullish. Translation: they're running this franchise like it's a stock portfolio, not a basketball team. If the numbers don't look flawless, dump it and move on. Forget about chemistry, culture, or building something sustainable. They want instant dominance every single year. But here's where it gets ridiculous. Brondello was delivering. She was winning despite setbacks, injuries to key players, lineups that weren't always healthy, and a short bench that left her juggling rotations. Even with all that, she got New York to the finals and brought home a title. Most teams would call that a dream season. Yet the Liberty front office managed to twist her success into a problem. They decided it wasn't enough.
ESPN to give us an update as to why Sandy Brondello will let go. And what's crazy about all of this in this interview that I'm about to show you guys is that Sandy Brondello was supposed to be fired last year, but she actually won the WNBA championship.
According to ESPN reporter Alexa Philippou, the decision wasn't made after the playoffs. It was made before they even tipped off. Leadership had already set the terms. If Brondello didn't win it all again, she was gone. That's a nearly impossible standard to meet. Think about it. No coach in any sport is judged only by whether they can repeat championships back-to-back. That kind of pressure doesn't just create urgency, it breeds chaos. Players feel it, coaches feel it, and instead of building confidence, it plants doubt. And in the long run, that's how franchises sabotage themselves.
Liberty just fired their head coach. People are confused as to why, because they won the championship last year, they made the playoffs this year. In sports, there's always a scapegoat when things aren't going the way that they wanted it to go. Clearly, in New York, the standard has been raised. As Coach Tibbs learned with the New York Knicks, making the playoffs does not guarantee that you are safe anymore. They have raised the standard. They're sending a message to the fans, to the team, saying, we don't want to just go to the playoffs. We need to go to the finals and we need to win. So if it's not the players on the court that are changing, it's got to be the coaching staff. So unfortunately, that did mean Coach Sandy.
Let's not forget, Brondello was the coach who delivered the Liberty's first ever championship. That should have been a moment for celebration, stability, and trust in her leadership. Instead, the message she got from the front office was basically, do it again right now or we'll find someone else. How do you reward a historic achievement with a pink slip? Other teams across the league would jump at the chance to hire her. She's led multiple franchises to deep playoff runs, has a championship pedigree, and players genuinely respect her style. But New York tossed it aside like it meant nothing. The way they handled it was just as bad, quick, cold, and without any sense of appreciation. A short thank you, and straight into the coaching search. No celebration, no acknowledgement of what she'd built. And that's the bigger issue. It's not just about Brondello. It's about how the Liberty, and maybe even the league as a whole, are chasing headlines and drama instead of investing in long-term culture.
I want to see a player get injured and, a player like Caitlin coming back. She's had a few injuries this year. She's a great player. It would have been good for our draft to see her, but hopefully they get to see her after post All-Star. We get to play them again. As for the All-Star, I'm excited to get to know her a little bit. I think that's the part of the All-Star. It's going to coach players that you haven't coached before and get them to know them a little bit and enjoy the whole celebration.
Drama that we're going to find out about? I don't know what's going on. I can tell you what I'm thinking immediately. It's a clear upgrade. It's a clear upgrade. Somebody, by the way, that adores Caitlin Clark. Just we all remember the New York Liberty, Sandy, Sabrina, Breanna, Caitlin Clark's agent, all standing around conversating earlier this year.
I've been there from the 98. I've only missed the first season there, but finally getting that recognition. But because we've had other great players, and then it's just this time is finally come for us. So for me, better late than never. happy to be a part of it, and hopefully it's a great game tonight. Look, she's a great young talent, and you have to remember that she's a young talent. She's coming into the WNBA for the first time. She's going to be a really good pro. I know that much. But it's hard coming in as a number one. I mean, when's the last time a number one pick has come in and dominated from the start? And I think she's had some really good moments for sure. She had 20 in the first game. We were able to keep her to 6.
And here's where the story gets even more complicated. Caitlin Clark. In just her second year, she's become the face of the WNBA, pulling in ratings, ticket sales, and national attention the league has never seen. Brondello openly acknowledged Clark's impact, giving her credit for changing the game. But inside New York, that wasn't welcomed. The Liberty want Breanna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu as their marquee stars, the players who carry the spotlight. Any recognition of Clark threatens that image. And that tension could backfire badly. Why? Because Stewart only signed a one-year deal. Fire the coach who helped her win, and you risk pushing your biggest star out the door. If Stewart walks, the Liberty don't just lose a coach, they lose their credibility as contenders. ESPN even hinted this as a real possibility. Meanwhile, coaches like Becky Hammon haven't come out swinging, but you can read between the lines. There's disapproval in how New York handled this. Instead of building on their success, Liberty leadership is gambling with their future, making power plays that could turn a dynasty into a disaster.